How do I even begin acrylic painting? Believe it or not, that is one of the most common questions I get asked. For today's video, I am doing a how to paint with acrylics. We will be reviewing absolutely everything you need to begin your acrylic painting journey. Starting off with prepping and priming your canvas, how to blend the colors you need for what you're trying to paint. I will be going over what mediums I use with the acrylic paint, what brand I use for acrylics, how to prep and prime your canvas, how to work with acrylics efficiently, and how to get the best result out of your acrylic painting. Keep in mind, I am self-taught. I have never gone to any art school. I've never taken any art lessons, anything like that. So everything I'm teaching you is going to be everything I've learned for the past 7 years working with acrylics on my own. I've created amazing masterpieces. So I'm just going to be showing you my way of painting with acrylic. On this journey, I have seen and tried different techniques that don't necessarily work for me and others have really stuck. So if you learn anything from this video, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up or leave a comment down below telling me what you learned. Now, I know you're eager to learn. I'm eager to teach you. So without further ado, let's get into the video. First things first that you need to paint a good piece, especially when it comes to skies, is a reference photo. Using colors that are very similar, if not the same, to the reference pic we use, that always makes paintings flow better in my opinion. I also feel like working off reference is really big for me. Not only does it allow me to have a very realistic result at the end of the piece, it's also helpful to have a map as to what you need to do so you can follow through. Now, if you are simply looking for a beginner-friendly acrylic painting tutorial, I do have a very easy acrylic painting tutorial you can follow on this piece I had previously done. I will link up above. Starting off with our paint, you can use any brand, that is completely up to you. I honestly started by using the cheapest acrylic brand possible by Craftsman. You can find it anywhere. It's very watery, I want to say very liquidy. If that's what you prefer, do that. Please do that. Then I upgraded to Liquitex, the brand, which is a little thicker, and then eventually the only brand of acrylic paint I was using is Golden. These are my favorite acrylic paints. There's no competition in my mind. No competition whatsoever. They are a heavy body acrylic paint. When you're trying to paint things that have a lot of depth, I would heavily suggest Golden acrylics. That is my go-to, no other questions. Now moving on to my medium. Me personally, my biggest struggle that I had while I was using acrylic paints, because you know I am trying to go into the oil world now, but when I was using acrylic paint, my biggest struggle was the drying time. I feel like acrylics just, you blend your paint and then it's dry. So the medium I use to help slow down the drying time is by the same brand, and this video is not sponsored whatsoever. I just truly have a big space in my heart for the brand Golden. I use the Golden Retarder. That's literally what it's called. Don't come for me. I would never. This is a slow drying medium. So what you do, and what I will show you, is how you're going to add this medium into the shade you're mixing, because it will slow down the drying time of your shade by a lot. Trust me. The more you add, the longer it takes for your paint to dry. It's great. I'd recommend it to everybody. Get this. If you haven't bought this, buy it, especially with the combo, you know, you got the one golden. It's perfect. You are also going to need a palette. This is my palette. I use glass palettes. They're my favorite. There's no competition in my book. I used to use plastic palettes. You can use anything that works for you. Let's be realistic. Whatever works for you. In my personal opinion, I feel like glass palettes are literally the GOAT because I can just reuse it, wash it, reuse it. For your brushes, I have been painting for 7 years. Please keep that in mind. You don't need a big variety of brushes. You really don't. To start off with, I would suggest you either get a very big one and a small one, or if you're going to be working on smaller paintings to begin, you can just get a medium-sized brush and a smaller one. These are good for painting straight lines, anything to do with painting angles, anything in that realm of shapes or getting something precise. You are going to want to go ahead and use a flat brush like this. Now, to talk about your rounder yet tinted tip brushes. Here you can see I have two rounder brushes that do each have a very pointy tip. I have used this brush for years, literally on any painting background I have ever created. I've used this particular brush, and I use this smaller one for fine tips. The flow of these particular brushes are more organic and smooth versus the flatheads, which are very precise and fine. If you are looking to get into acrylics to paint very precise and fine detailing, I would suggest you pick up smaller tip brushes like this right here. These are from the brand Winsor & Newton. These are amazing when it comes to fine detailing. I use them for like grass strokes or hair strokes or anything like that. But if you are a beginner, I would try to stay away from finer details until you get comfortable with the acrylic medium, because then you can get the best use out of your paintings. If this is your first time watching me, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. If you've been here for a while, you know that my number one most used brush is a makeup brush. I always use makeup brushes to blend all of my acrylics and even my oils. I feel like makeup brushes are top tier, no competition. All of the makeup brushes that I use right now to blend my skies are from the brand BH Cosmetics. Let me just show you, you can buy any pack from them. I don't know how affordable they are now, but back then when I purchased these years ago, I think it was like $9, so I would get on that. They have a lot, you see. Makeup brushes just have a lot of tiny little strands on them, which make them so efficient to blend because it doesn't really leave any streak marks how other brushes would. If you are having difficulty blending your painting, or you're noticing that there is a lot of brush strokes, makeup brushes, they will be your best friend. But don't use them if you've already used them on your face. Absolutely not. Get yourself a set so that you're strictly using it for painting your acrylic paint. You are also going to need some palette knives for your painting. I personally never, and would actually never, suggest you use a paint straight out of the tube. No. No. Absolutely not. We like to blend our paint ourselves because not only does it add more depth, it's just the way to do it. You just never want to use a paint straight out of a tube. Trust me when I say you should definitely be blending all of your shades. If you look around you right now in whatever room you're in, you'll see that everything around you has a very unique hue and shade. That's the same thing you want to translate to your paintings, is you want all of your colors to have a very unique hue and shade. That's why I suggest you never just take a paint straight out of the paint tube and use it. Please blend your colors. For any acrylic painting, you are going to need water. Acrylics are water-based. Add more water to your acrylics and you can use them more fluidly. They also last longer, so please get a bucket of water, a cup of water, whatever you have. I have this little bucket I purchased at Michael's. If you are finding this video helpful so far, please make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so you can stay updated with future posts. Let's talk about your primary shades for painting. It took me a while to figure out that all you need is your 3 primary colors. You can make any color and any shade from those 3 primary colors. I promise. White is going to be your best friend. I would get a big tub of white paint, as you're going to be using a lot of white to mix in with your shades, especially if you like painting pastels or sunsets like I do. White is your bestie. Your primary shades are always going to be yellow, blue, and red. Now, whether you want a cooler tone or a warmer tone to the paint, you're going to choose your paint wisely. I love that my paintings have a warmer tone. They always have, so that's why I use shades that have ultramarine. Ultramarine means they're going to be warmer. That's what I tend to use. Let me show you the primary paints I have. I do have a lot of different shades of paint. I have been painting for the past 7 years. These are my primary shades I have for red. I have primary magenta. This shade is more pink, whether this shade is very bright red. This is what I use for any red tone or pink tone that I need. These are the primary blue shades that I use. Ultramarine blue. Don't want to mess the name of this up. But yeah, this is a blue shade as well. And it has a red hue, which mixes in with the red shades I have. These are the two blues that I use with acrylic painting. You absolutely need yellow ochre. As you can see, this tub is literally gone. You need yellow ochre, and you also need your cadmium yellow medium. These are my two go-to yellows. Whenever I need a baby yellow, very pastel yellow, I use these two shades. Trust me. Yellow ochre is also great for skin, but we'll get into that in another video because right now we're focusing on the basics of acrylics while painting a sky. To prep and prime your canvas, you are going to start off with Gesso. I got this from the brand Liquitex. It just comes in a little bottle like this. Gesso works as a layer between the canvas and your paint. So when you prep your canvas with Gesso, you're adding an extra layer of smoothness so that your paint glides on there well. It also helps to smooth out any bumps or edges that your canvas may have that you're not quite catching. So definitely prepare and prep your canvases with Gesso. The next step is completely optional. I personally love it and I do it every single time now, which is to actually prep and map out your canvas with a burnt sienna shade. This is my burnt sienna shade, again from the brand Golden. I absolutely love the brand Golden. I can't rave about them enough. Before I start painting, I apply a very thin layer of this shade to my canvas. It's very watery, very thin. For me personally, it eliminates the anxiety of having to fill in a white canvas and getting all the crevices filled, because when there's white spots, I feel a little like, I gotta fill that in too. Also acts as a map, particularly when you're painting very precise things. So if you go back on a time lapse I recently posted for an oil painting, you'll see that I mapped everything out in burnt sienna before I went in and painted it. Kind of like coloring, it just gives you a base and a map as to what you're going to be shading, what needs to be darkened, what needs to be lightened. But that's if you're working with it professionally. You can also just apply a very thin layer of burnt sienna to your canvas, so that way you eliminate that white space. It also adds a very warm hue to your piece, which I personally love, so I always use burnt sienna before I start painting. I did want to say you should do a lot of studying and playing with acrylic paints before you just try to paint a masterpiece, because it really does take work for you to know what you're doing and for you to feel out what works best for you. What works best for you might not work best for me or for somebody else. That's why it's important that you take your time with the medium you're trying to learn to see what works for you. I would say do little studies, figure studies, shape studies, sky studies, color studies, simply just playing with the paint, seeing how it's on the canvas. I just had to say that because a lot of people ask, well, how'd you get so good? And it's like, hey, I've been painting for 7 years. Like, trust me, I've painted some things that I really do not like. So just, you live and you learn and you try again. You live, you learn, you try again, you try again, you try again. Eventually you'll get to where you want to be. There's no pressure, there's no stress. Take your time. Most importantly, always have fun. You want to make sure you're having fun while you're painting. Painting is a form of expression, of getting any emotion out there onto a piece, simply exploring. It's a good form of expression. So you never want to lose sight of having fun and having a good time to make art, because that's what art is all about. So that is all for today, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope that you found this video helpful. If in fact you did find this video helpful, please make sure to leave a comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up or subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will be posting more frequently with different tutorials on acrylics, paint with me videos, oil paintings, time lapses, all of that good stuff. So I would love it if you stayed updated with me. I hope you have a beautiful day. Sun's out, it looks bright outside, everything, life is just good, and I hope you have an amazing day today. I'll see you soon. Bye.